That being the case, I'd like to officially say thank you all for coming to our Friday night session. I've had a enjoyable, as enjoyable day as you can at work, and I look forward to our opportunity to escape reality and to engage in a little play. The opportunity to play is definitely a highlight in my life at this moment. One of the many things that keeps me coming back is the opportunity to play and enjoy and explore with you guys. With that being said, this is officially In the Shadow of the White City, Season 4. And tonight's episode is Normal is an Illusion. With that recap in place, with Zach signing on the dotted line, as it were, and passing it along, Frost, the contract comes to you.
The contract for the sheriff contract, right? With Seth?
No, this is the contract between Silk and...
The contract was negotiated over the last few weeks in regards to obtaining blood for the Pisketeers. You all are now, if you look there in open play, there's the only high point of the contract, the only thing that is remotely stand out about it. You all are entering into, if you look there at the picture that's there in open play, it shows that you all are considered one singular entity in regards to moving forward with the contract for providing blood to the Pisketeers.
Okay, so seeing as Frost is a new vamp and like he's been hostile towards feeding on anybody who's not innocent until probably just now. So I would say Frost probably is not liking the idea of having to feed off innocents, but seeing as technically it's okay since it's, you know, their consent. It's consensual.
Okay, does he sign the contract?
Frost would sign the contract.
Signing on the dotted line. And Tyven, of course, we're going to NPC until he makes it, or if he doesn't. So, of course, he'd sign as per everyone else. The moment that the contract is signed, still glide over one signature. She signs and looks it over and looks to Dina. I'll arrange a copy of this for you all. Outside of this, is there anything, and she looks to Tyven and Zach and Dina, that we sensates should discuss?
Would now be a good time to bring up Lucine's actions, or would Silk really care about that?
If you'd like to spread gossip, now is always the time. If you're looking for someone to step in and defend you or take actions, that's another matter entirely. You'd have to have a relationship with someone to risk even quiet warfare across 3 different cities, ranging from Gary all the way through and up to Milwaukee.
Then Zack chooses to withhold that at this time. What about anyone else? Would they like to see anything?
Seth knows when he's being a clannish third wheel.
I'm trying to think if there would be anything Dia would necessarily want to mention. I mean, oh, okay. So, I know you tend to know lots of different things, but the night after my ascension, he was supposed to have a trial. And during that trial, it was set upon by brigands, I would guess you would say, with guns. And that is how Frost came to be. During all that, it seemed like they were trying their hardest to besmirch Naomi's name and solidly point things in her direction. Some things she told me the night of my ascension lead me to question all of that and how valid most of this is. I would wonder if you had heard anything to the opposite of what's going on in Dalton at current.
I would be lying if I said that I didn't hear anything in regards to Dalton, and I would choose not to lie to you. My outsider's perspective would simply be nothing is ever as it seems, and everything is as you've heard. But then again, that could be considered my natural paranoia. There was a story I heard not too long ago. It was a very crass story, but it was very enjoyable. There's a bird that fell from its nest and never learned to fly. So when all the other birds flew away for the winter, it was stuck where it was, trundling along from one bush to the next, and found itself in the middle of a pasture during the onset of a snowstorm, and as such was slowly freezing to death. When along came a bull, and the bull evacuated its bowels all over the bird, and of course the bird was quite insulted. It was covered in the innards and digested matter of some other animal. It was up in arms at the effrontery and chose to let itself be known, and it squeaked and chirped and sang, but only as it began to notice that it was able to do so and was not in fact frozen solid did it realize that the feces of the bovine was actually saving it. In the process of its protestations, it came to the attention of a passing eagle who swooped down and plucked it up out of its feces and promptly gobbled it up. It's a quite crass story, but it is also one of incredibly sound understandings of things.
Yeah, looks a little perplexed for a moment.
I
So
believe
you
the
have meaning
moral
to tell me.
I
That
believe the moral of that
sometimes being covered
story
in warm
is.
shit is better than being eaten.
There we go.
That is one way of looking at it. I'd prefer to understand it that everyone who shits on you isn't necessarily an enemy, and everyone who pulls you out of your shit isn't always your friend.
Ah, that I understand. Quite interesting. I will take that to heart and apply this to that situation. Apply that to the situation.
Sounds like something I had to learn the hard way, Zach says in a somewhat sad voice.
There are many lessons that come with a cost. There's a price of doing business. That price, unfortunately, always requires the loss of something. To gain the world, you must first lose your soul. Or you must sometimes do so heartlessly and to
I have
remain
gained much
just.
these past evenings and have lost much as well. It's just strange thinking that maybe I wouldn't have wanted to lose any of those things that I have.
There's a cost to every single thing. And negotiations are seldom about what you gain, but what are you instead willing to lose? But you have a business to run. Miles of travel to make it back in time to receive your delivery. I look forward to the glowing review of what you've negotiated.
Well, now. Oh, perhaps I should be prompt then, if you truly look forward to it to that extent, he says with a smile.
Even in the worst of
Perhaps.
times. Go on.
Perhaps I should tell you where exactly to look, though, because some people may have a presence in some areas, but not in others. He then writes down his YouTube username and on a slip of paper and hands it over to Silk. Not the most creative of usernames, I am aware, but it is what I came up with at the time I made the account.
Oh, I see. YouTube. Is this much like MySpace? Or is it closer to Friendster?
As somebody who has never even heard of Friendster, I cannot really tell you for sure.
I see. Well, I will look into your forum and your media presence, and I'll let you know what I think of it. As honestly as I am able. Now, in the course of this evening, you all have managed to travel to another city, managed to negotiate for resources, and you come to an understanding as to Frost. As a newborn kindred, as a lick, as a child, there is a cost to doing business that Silk hinted towards. That cost is subjective morality is just that, subjective. And the only way forward, honestly, is by maintaining clarity of declaration and unity of thought. In the grand scheme of things, no one's truly innocent. In the grand scheme of things, no one deserves the pleasure inherent in being fed upon. In presence of fact, through the negotiations that brought everyone to this point, as you all leave, you realize that now, in this moment, you are all far more bound together than you were more than 30 minutes prior. There's something exceedingly formal about signing your name and realizing the names used are in fact your actual names, except for Seth, but that can't be helped in the moment.
Zach's not using his actual name either. It's his mask's name.
And while he signed his mask name, the name listed was actually his.
Wait, he did sign it Zach Volkir, which is the name he goes by these days. His real name
But
is something else entirely.
Correct. Yes, and that was not the name that was there for him to sign under.
Oh, crap. Wait, did I actually sign Zach's real name, or...
No, Zach didn't. Zach signed Zach Volkir. Zach's
Okay,
real name was what
just-
was listed. With Zach Volkir as a pseudonym.
Okay, just making sure I'm on the same page here.
Seth's still young enough, he has to think about it before he signs his name. Or he will accidentally sign his kind name. You know, like in January when you put the wrong year for that whole month? Like that.
Yeah. It's a lot easier for Zach because he hasn't used his real name since he was 16. And I'm echoing.
Yeah, Seth hasn't gotten around to faking his original name's death yet.
As you all leave, you realize that the truth in naming was more than likely what took so very long.
Wait, what was that?
Frost.
What did you just blow up? The heck is going on Frost's end? Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's getting some noise.
Okay, am I echoing for anybody else?
Nope.
Testing, no.
Okay, that's a little better. Hey, I'm not echoing anymore.
Alright, so as everyone makes their departure and takes the trip back to the Pisketeers, the realities of signing your current mask name and only as you all are entering into the vehicle and pulling away from Salacious, does the reality of, wait, fuck, that was who I was, that was not who I am.
Am I screeching?
Nope, you're good.
No.
Okay, then I'm good.
Alright, so arriving back at the Piscatier's Lounge. There is the weight of the evening sitting there before you all. You all have accomplished much. You have agreed to several small, minor things. Loss of funds, agreement to work together, at least officially as a company of sorts. The name of your entity still hangs in the balance. What you all have planned or what you all are aiming towards, all of the matter sitting before you still hangs in the air. What is it that you all are seeking to accomplish together?
Well, it seems that we have 3 fronts working at the same time. We have the new front of working under the auspice of using silk as a blood supply. We have the Milwaukee question that is slowly bubbling. And third, there's still the matter of the fact that this association has existed in 4 or 5 different forms, and most of its former members have passed on or pissed off. And we are in a pickle as to why and how. Because I'm pretty sure none of us want to be put on the roster of former members of this group. Whether it's tower involvement from the White City or just bad luck or whatever it is, this group seems to have been singled out for some reason to take all the hard jobs. I don't know if anybody else is thinking along those lines, but I've been in contact with the sheriff. So hopefully he can give me more information about who's passed and what they know about those passings. And hopefully we can start to put together a more coherent picture as to, is Dalton being targeted? And if so, is it being targeted through this coterie? Its former membership and its current membership? Or is this more of a general let's screw over everybody kind of thing, and this coterie just had the bad luck of soaking up most of the wounds?
Seth, darling, it's really not that deep. I can tell you exactly. Bad decisions were made. People paid for those decisions. Simple as that.
It just seems like the body count is a little high for a few bad decisions to account for all of it.
Well, when you get attacked and eaten by a lupine, there's not a lot people can do about that.
Oh,
And then when you piss off the prince, that's another no-no.
but there's also the matter of Jack. And, I mean, Dalton and Riverdale...
But they weren't a member of our coterie.
But it's all of a flavor. I mean, if you look at Riverdale and Dalton, we lost Robert, you lost Everett. There was one known as Domi? He's in my notes. Another Cygnus. Nicole.
Wasn't there an Abner as well?
Yeah, I have a note on a guy named Abner. And then Gary in general is just a bloodbath. The Dust took a serious hit recently, though they wouldn't tell me.
I died and came back.
Yeah, there's Frost, but you're still standing here, so we're not going to count you among the dead. I mean, it's a lot of bodies stacking up in a short period of time, and it has me nervous. A, I don't want to be one of the bodies.
Does anybody?
And B, they say twice is a coincidence, 3 times is a pattern, and we're pushing a dozen here. I could tell you personally that the Tremere are up in arms. We've been given direct commands from Chicago to knock our shit off and get our shit square. So, I mean, I don't know whether the Roses have had some kind of come to Jesus meeting in a back room somewhere, but when the head of the Grand Chancery of Chicago tells you to stop fucking around and dying, there's questions to be asked there.
No, as far as I know, we're still all fighting with each other. But Nicole was lupines, remember?
And from what I've been able to discern, Everett was lupines or somebody trying to make it look like it.
No, literally Everett was lupines. I was there.
Oh, well, there you go. So, on top of everything else, vampire hunters, those crazy Jesuits, the theists, and now werewolves. That's a lot to go wrong all at once. And then, of course, Decker almost getting overthrown. That's a lot of puzzle pieces. I don't like it. Maybe it's the cop in me, but I don't like it. Oh, yeah, I forgot. The blood war that's happening in the shadows that we've found no evidence of until you ran out of sources. That hit us from the side. Do we want to treat all of these things as individual occurrences and look at them? Do we want to use a little bit of your newfound muscle and maybe ask questions at higher levels?
While I am willing to admit some of these things sound like they're connected, some of them aren't and are just purely coincidence. I am pretty sure of that fact. When you have instances of lupines and werewolves showing up, of course the hunters are going to get curious and start showing up.
wish our furry friends were better at hiding.
Assholes will be assholes.
So, do we want to back burner my paranoia and look at the two other areas of concern? I will, in the next couple of days, have meetings with Dwayne Mitchell and with Decker. And both will have impact for the whole group. My meeting with Decker hopefully will lead to financial and political gain. And my meeting with Dwayne will probably lead to problems, missions, and bloodshed.
Well, I don't say we should ignore your paranoia because most people say it's not paranoia if it's actually people out to get you.
This is true. But the only thread
But
I
at
can
the same
think
time,
the only thread I can think to pull is the blood war and Nicole. Or not Nicole, Naomi. Naomi was up to something. And the blood war obviously means something bigger is going on that we don't know about. But those aren't the secrets that Tremere deal in, and from what I've seen, very rarely do the Roses get involved in that kind of thing.
we do deal in secrets, but not those sort of secrets.
And there is the matter of introducing Frost more generally.
Don't remind me. I'm not looking forward to it.
It's a party.
I didn't sign up for any.
Audio problems again, Frost?
No, you don't get to sign up for this party. I had to sit through it twice because I'm a Tremere. So, you know, suck it up, pretend to drink a beer, and honestly, you need to meet some members of your own clan.
And we suspect it's Gangrel?
That is the supposition. Given who was around when it happened, that is the suspect group. Also, I asked around, and this tends to be their modus operandi. They have more of a Spartan view of introduction to the life. Basically, they bite you and kick you out into the wilderness. And see what happens.
I mean, they sound like fun people.
They're a weird combination of spiritual and biker gang, from what I know. So, Brewhaw, but more dream catchers and totems.
Speaking of
Totems are fun.
Speaking of,
there was a woman the night of my ascension. Somewhat muscular, had a man in her arms.
oh yeah, I have notes. She broke in. She was there when I first arrived. She looked to be carrying a kind, rather tall gentleman, as I recall. Zach. So many rows. Local celeb. Man, I have got to organize these notes at some point. There we go. Unknown person. Delivering basically what looked to be a near dead man. Approached by Naomi on their entrance, and I believe the name Red.
I don't think they were delivering him. They were taking him. He seemed injured, and Naomi, him, and the female left together.
Yes. I have the notes. I can give you a pretty good physical description of the female. The male she was much shorter than he was, so I couldn't tell you for sure what range around 6 foot the guy was, but she was compact.
But had to be fairly strong to be holding him like that.
Yes. I mean, I attributed that some to her nature, but she looked like even in life she could have bench pressed a rear axle. I would not want to get into a fist fight with her.
So, the question is, how does Naomi know her, and what is her name?
I wasn't able to overhear. I was surrounded by Geneva and Dwayne almost the second I walked in the door.
Because I think if we can find that out, she might be a source as to finding out whether Naomi is really guilty or not, or
what exactly she's guilty of.
Exactly.
I mean, the evidence at the scene says Naomi had something to do with it. But evidence can be misleading and it can be fake.
So, I think that woman might have some clues. Or at least point us in the right direction, maybe.
Well, I would say she's not a local. I think, Frost, this might be something a little more up your alley.
Investigating isn't up my ally.
No, but finding
Alley.
people is.
Oh, finding people's, yeah.
So let's assume that she's a bounty. Assume that she skipped bail. Physically female, under 5'6", dark complexion, muscular. Probably lives within, say, 75 miles.
Okay.
If Naomi's using her, probably doesn't have any kind of police record. No, Naomi wouldn't make that kind of mistake. But the human might.
And the human...
6 foot plus, red hair, white male.
Okay, so just your average jock.
Yeah. Grievously injured, so possibly at an emergency room. Most likely not a major hospital, but one of those overnight deals. Oh, sorry. Not white male, biracial male.
I think the guy with the red hair that you're thinking of is that tall doctor person that was walking around with, what's his face, Cyprian?
Did anybody else show a lot of interest other than Naomi?
I mean, the people who attacked us, or me.
But most of them are
Interest in what exactly?
the young lady's arrival. I mean, Naomi went immediately over and scurried off. But we've all seen View and her little abstract, what's his name? Felix, I think?
Ugh, those two.
Yeah. Did they seem overly interested? Because we're...
No, not particularly, but Geneva peeked over there for a brief moment. But I never know with Geneva.
She is an enigma wrapped in a riddle. So if...
And stuffed into a puzzle box.
Yeah. So how about we attack this from two sides? Me and Frost try to find anything we can about either the injured human or the person that picked her up. And our Lady Senator approaches the Dom and sees if she can give any light to that situation.
Yeah. I think I have to meet with her anyway tomorrow. So I'll bring it up then.
We have so many meetings. Oh my god.
And that's not even counting that eventually we will have to go back to having the stupid trial.
Yeah, if we can pull Naomi out of whatever rock she crawled underneath.
I doubt going to let her
There's a saying. There's a saying, an aphorism that's often tossed out. Speak of the devil and they shall appear. As you all make it back to the Pisketeers, and you are debarking in preparation of your delivery of humans and blood and all of the things necessary to keep the actual Pisketeers, not merely the neighborhood facade, operational. There is a stretch SUV limousine waiting alongside of the Pisketeers. It is clearly someone who does not normally visit, as most regulars park along the street as often as possible. Making it inside the building, there is an immediate difference. Every room has a volume, every room has a sound, it has a weight that comes from those who belong with those who don't, and there's a standard feel to each room that you're in that is intrinsically its own. The feeling of the building is different. There's a change in the room volume, in the room sound, in the space. The people who had rushed to the Pisketeers because it was finally open after only 2.5 days of being closed are quieter. There's not the raucous neighborhood laughter, not the giggling. There's still clear-cut carousing happening, but it is the sort of carousing that happens after something noteworthy or someone noteworthy has passed by. It is the sort of thing that happens when schools of fish survive sharks running by. And as you all make your way downstairs into the actual Pisketeers, that shark turns out to very much be Naomi and her security staff, sitting at the rear portion of the speakeasy portions of the Pisketeers. As they are simply sitting and enjoying the ambiance itself is different. It's as if the people who normally visit here realize that there are larger predators out there in the world, and one of them just happens to be at the back of their gathered space.
Speak of the devil and they shall appear.
Diga kind of smirks and gets close to Naomi. Did Dwayne let you up for good behavior?
Well, accused of a crime isn't the same thing as having done it.
Well, we're talking about Dwayne, yeah?
Well, considering that I have not been hunted down, I have not been killed in my sleep.
Evening, Senator Naomi. I hope all things considered, things are going well for you and your friends.
I managed to exist, which means that they are going actually quite well, despite very real idea that someone seeks my position, someone seeks to have me removed, or this is simply a feint towards their true goal.
I was just inquiring after your friends that showed up at the high point of the trial. That young man did not look in good shape. I hope he saw through the night.
Are you as blind as the others? Do you think that I've survived this long by associating openly or privately with someone or some things as mindless as that?
From across the room, the concerns seem real. I was just trying to add my hopes and prayers for that young man's continued good health.
Yes, thoughts and prayers. Yes, we know how far that they'll go. The reason for my visit, I understand that Nicole kept a certain selection. I'm wondering if you, dear Senator, have managed to keep such a selection in stock as well.
Do I know what she means, or is that what we just ran out of?
That's just what you ran out of.
Unfortunately, we normally have it in stock, but there was a slight hiccup with our delivery system, and even though it's been fixed, tonight is a little bit of a wash.
So you would not be in possession.
Unfortunately, not at the current moment, no.
That is a bit troubling, but I understand.
Actually, it seems there are shortages everywhere. I have reached out to many sources, and they all are either unable to be found or in possession of nothing.
Watching as Frost instead of cross, she sighs. Gentlemen, Senator, I have not come to break any semblance of the laws of comedy. I came for a specific request of your hospitality. My aims have never been to tear anything down, to threaten anyone or their personal safety. These men, my men, are not merely peacekeepers but peacemakers. And despite whatever gossip, despite the charges laid against me, I have never, and I will never, seek to do harm to any kindred that I can avoid.
Oh, Senator, I have no doubt of your peaceful intentions, but the last 3 days have been full of peaceful intentions. And the senators...
That is highly doubtful.
Well, the senator's peaceful coexistence and continued existence is, at the moment, my express command from the Dom. Me and Frost, we're not good with the talking, so we do what we can. We're not trying to insult you or claim that you have ill intent, but if bad things happen, we prefer to be prepared.
The sighs and then goes to look at the bottle that they might have left before they left to see if there was anything left in it.
There actually was. You guys didn't bother to partake. I believe Zach may have, but Tyven wasn't there. Dia wasn't drinking. So that left Seth and Frost.
Seth had scotch.
And Frost wasn't drinking anything, if I remember right, after throwing up. So, Gia rescues the bottle and brings it over with glasses.
Naomi watches as Dia moves across the floor, careful to not make any maneuvers that would force an interaction between her staff and Seth and Frost. Frost is bristling. There's a very clear-cut understanding that he has every intention of perhaps causing some harm. And it's the look that, unfortunately, most childer have. The inability to quite mask their preparations, the inability to be more than they're seeming. It's something that comes with practice. It's something that comes from the very real ability to lie with one's body that, well, humans typically don't. Well, breathing beings typically don't have, unless of course they have been exposed to the higher levels of politics, unless of course they have been exposed to the artistic trades of acting, singing, and performing in public. Erstwhile, it is easy for kindred to denote and pick out and discern what breathing humans are preparing, what their baseline intentions are. It's something that you all do naturally, having existed for longer than your natural lives. The moment of your death and the training of the society grants a certain perspective that is earned through unfortunate circumstances. There are lots of failures. There's lots of moments where a calmer facade would have won the day. And unlike most elder kindred, elder in terms of status in the community. Naomi doesn't quite respond to it. She instead just waits.
Leah rolls her eyes at Frost and pours Naomi a measure into the glass and then one for herself, sitting very close to Naomi. Making a very clear point of going with the law comedy and offer of, like, I understand what you're saying, so we're not going to burn this bridge, we're not going to start a fight, we're going to have a drink and enjoy our evening.
Senator, thank you for your hospitality. Your staff are taking steps to ensure your safety, and the intention. But for your sake and for mine, I would request anything presented. My aims have always been true. My intentions have always been care for and protect those who do not have a voice, especially those women who have suffered and continue to suffer at the hands of violent men, at the hands of a society that would carelessly and needlessly cast them off. I've recently entered into a compact and a contract with members of our blood from Gary. It is unfortunately hard to not see the lack of coincidence in the world, and having come into a small windfall that could make all the difference in the world to those that I assist in the investment of new blood into the area.
So you're saying you think it was a setup, or that these people didn't truly mean to help you, and were there some sort of distraction?
With everything that is taking place, the blood on the street, our missing members, the fact that there are clearly kindred involved, I believe that this is the opening gambit for kindred from Gary to begin invading our city.
For what reason? We have nothing they would want.
We have freedom from direct hunting of witch hunters. We have our semblance of peace and Geneva, who acts as an umbrella over the city, making agreements and deals with the white city itself. Geneva and the bulk of her cabinet have entered into and formed a compact with Chicago. We are not as independent of a domain as we claim. Your efforts to pull victory from the jaws of defeat helped seal that compact, helped seal that treaty, has taken our autonomy that we, the people, voted on and chose, scripted for us. Our independence is a lie. We are as beholden to Chicago as we have always been. And I believe that Jack's assassination.
With this.
And I believe that Jack's assassination was the opening gambit to ensure that we remain beholden to Chicago. Sure that and forgive me for how this sounds, but I believe that your placement was so that someone who was not and is not quite aware as to the many machinations can act as a voice of people, the popular choice, that the innocent, to give us, specifically Geneva, a cover of innocence, a cover of, oh, I didn't know. Dia, did you know that this was happening?
There's one problem with that. I apparently wasn't a popular choice. If you listen to any of the members of the Senate that night, I was definitely not a popular choice.
Yes. And how best to ensure that you get what you want? Pretend you are working against it. You are the popular choice for the non-Senate members of our domain. You are the voice of the people giving credence. Someone who skated by, clearly the underdog, clearly worked against. Clearly not a member of the patricians, clearly not a blue bow, clearly not connected with Chicago. You are almost the perfect antithesis to everything that I and Jack were. How do you build a hero, Dia? How do you build a hero? Let's first give them a feather. Seth, I understand that you're a member of the Chantry. What do you think of such a thing? Do you believe that this is what has taken place?
Taking your analogy, you're saying that Senator Concordia is your polar opposite. Because you are a blue blood with known ties to Chicago. With known ties outside of Dalton. And unfortunate friends. While I was a cop for a long time, and I saw where Jack fell, and I can tell you, it points at you. It just does. But the parts that point at you are the parts that could be faked. So I'm still on the fence. The information I gave or was going to give at the trial was purely facts. But they were circumstantial, so they could be faked. But taking your analogy that Dia is your opposite, and Geneva wanted her in for that fact, to hide the fact that she was getting in comfortably with Chicago, and then you say, how do you build a hero? I think that splits your reasoning two ways. Is Geneva trying to find cover for whatever she's planning with Chicago? Or is she looking for somebody who can be a leader against what Chicago is planning to do to Geneva? And Geneva just knows about it. Because Geneva has been the Dom for a long time. That kind of power separates you from, let's call them the rabble, the citizenry, the proletariat. And I think Geneva's been around long enough to know that. So, using your very own logic, Geneva might actually be trying to create a populist hero within the Senate. Somebody that will rally the non-senators to Geneva's defense if Chicago comes after us.
Yes, and how can she create that?
Well,
By
creating
giving
it's
the
easy.
popular, by
You just-
creating a villain.
Without becoming a villain or without creating a villain?
By creating a villain. While Geneva never directly speaks against me, there's no other person within the township that would have the wherewithal to affect the public.
In this Senate,
Nicole is dead.
in this Senate, finding a villain would unfortunately be fairly easy for any member of the citizenry. Dwayne's a heavy-handed thug some days, most days, all the days. Vu and Felix are creepy as hell. Nicole was the only one that was seen in a positive light. And I highly doubt that Jack would ever fit that mold. Honestly, I think choosing Dia, wanting Dia to be on the Senate, was the smartest move for the city. Because the rest of you are creepy and scary. Not because of your clan, not because of any other reason other than you've been in power for a while and you've distanced yourself from those who don't have power. Dia has been one of the proletariat for time immemorial and is directly connected to Nicole. She was the obvious choice from a political standpoint. Despite anything else, I mean, yes, Geneva is now going to have problems with you, with Vu, with Felix, maybe even with Dwayne, for not choosing Jack or somebody else in that area. But of all the people at the popularity level required to become a senator, Dia is the best choice from the point of Geneva trying to stay connected with the rest of us. But calling you directly the villain, I can't guess to her reasons for that. Frankly, I think Vu and Felix are much scarier. But you're an easier target. Despite the good work you do in the community, and don't think I haven't noticed it. I mean, I do missing persons, divorce cases, I deal with kind's inhumanity to kind for my bread and butter. And you've helped in that area. But when it comes to dealing with kindred, you're a senator, and you bleed that off of yourself. And that's probably partially from your venture training, partially from how long you've done it. But you ooze that acceptance of noblesse oblige and nobility.
Corporate.
Well, I was really trying not to say it, but yes, you are the suit. Everybody else is working for a living. You were an easy one to paint as the villain. The other thing that would have made you easy to be the target is the fact that Jack is so tightly tied to you. Jack was the problem for Geneva. So, if Jack's the problem, you eliminate Jack, then you have to deal with the powerful person behind Jack, which is you. I mean, if I were building a conspiracy story, if I were writing a book, you would be the one that I would go after as the sacrificial goat. I won't lie. It doesn't mean I think you're innocent. It doesn't mean I think Jack was the best person for the job. But from the Dom's perspective, Jack was the target, and you were the obvious scapegoat. But I say again, Dia was the best choice. And I think if you and Vu and Dwayne had a couple of shots of bourbon and sat down and really talked about it, you'd agree with me.
Well, Senator, your cabinet member has been fairly free their opinions, and I opened the floor for him. What is it that you believe?
Yes, there are things I'm questioning. There are things I'm questioning about timing. I have myself thought that it was strange for everybody to be voting for Jack and then Jack to go missing and wind up dead. But since I directly had nothing to do with it, I don't know what people are expecting of me other than to what? Make a big deal? Point out how it's so wrong that I was chosen over such a much better prospect, even though that prospect is dead, and apparently was doing some sort of shady dealings. Did you know about the pink substance in their car? And the amount of guns they apparently had? Where does all that come from?
Where does guns come from? Why
No.
the proliferation of firearms?
Why the proliferation of firearms and drugs of some sort that affect even our own kind in their car?
Do you know why the war on drugs failed on a national level?
Seth deliberately doesn't say a fucking word.
Because it was targeting minorities, not actual drugs.
You are far smarter than one would assume, Mr. Frost. It was a criminalization of a caste of people while profiting off of that criminalization. The war on drugs failed because it was far more profitable than it was actually criminal. You can't rule in the fantasy ideal of America a caste of people as criminal, because Americans believe there is no caste system. Americans believe that they are simply one smart decision away from being the rich elite. So to expose them to the truth that there is a caste system cause all. However, if you give the people wide, unwashed masses an internet, if you use propaganda against them, if you get them supporting the good guys, they will go right along with your idea that there's a certain caste of people, a certain type of person that should be forced into slavery. And the money one can make off treating humans as property has never stopped being profitable. Those same ideals are part of the foundation as to what we, kindred, are. everyone in the tower pointing their fingers at the rabble. Everyone in the rabble pointing their fingers at the tower. The sword moving in from the shadows. Those dangerous, dark, devious kindred. Everyone needs a villain so that no one pays attention to what's actually happening. That's why Jack was in possession of a narcotic that is potent enough to alter even a kindred's perception because it is profitable and it creates slaves that can be used and sold based on their addiction.
So that begs the question, were they providing these drugs, manufacturing these drugs, or keeping them out of other people's hands?
You really don't know, do you? There's only
No.
one place in the Midwest where ash is created, and that's Milwaukee. The Tremere of Milwaukee. Their acolytes, their neophytes, create ash, and it is circulated throughout the entirety of the Midwest.
Dia looks at Seth. The shock is very clear on their face.
It's not outside the realm of the possible. I mean, blood sorcery could do it. If enough neonates and acolytes got together, they could pull it off. And there are rumors of discontent in the Chantry of Milwaukee, aimed from Decker towards them. It would explain a lot. Decker's a wartime prince. He is not watching the kindred as closely as he should as the prince, because he's watching for the lupines. That would be, I mean, if I were going to do this, I'd do it in Milwaukee or Indianapolis. Both of those towns, Tower or Sabat, both of those towns are ripe for this kind of work.
Dia looks for a moment like somebody kicked her puppy.
Even Tower Tremere can be underhanded, deceitful money grubbers. We're not all lazy back alley detectives.
That got control over Milwaukee. So, should we move in to Milwaukee sooner rather than later and squash the drug makers?
I think making our presence felt would be a good first step.
Damn it.
I don't think that.
I'm curious.
About what?
How long before others find out your connections or potential connections to Milwaukee and use that as a sign of your elitism?
Dia's connections to Milwaukee or ours in general?
In general, of course. As members of the senator's cabinet, you all represent them, and they represent you.
If they have any misgivings, it won't be the first time that's caused somebody a serious and lasting amount of pain. Anybody who knows of Decker knows that if he had anything to do with the ash, he would burst into flames spontaneously. But they also know him as distracted by where he is. My recent domain that he granted me was part of an initial coup attempt. And Dia turned him down flat. My unfortunate moment of avarice is the only reason the domain exists. But give me and Frost 2 weeks sitting in Milwaukee, and any disparaging comments will be relegated to disbelieved whispers.
Really? 2 weeks?
Remember
I'd
I
say
said
we
we're going to
can
try
have-
to be subtle?
Right.
But my point is, despite me accepting or not accepting ties to Milwaukee, I would not be the only senator to dip my toes in multiple bodies of water. You yourself, Naomi, have ties to Chicago, do you not?
And Chicago Heights.
So does Sylvia. So I believe that falls under one's living in glass houses, not throwing stones. I
Senator,
think I need a moment. Tonight has been quite stressful.
Senator, you've tossed around a lot of information. And I did interrogations for 12 years, so I know the method. You came here asking for blood, which you could have gotten 100 different ways. But it's obvious that you wanted to talk to us about something and possibly make an offer of some kind. We're listening. And despite mine and Frost's paranoia, we haven't threatened you in any way. We're listening with open minds and open ears.
All right, folks. I do apologize about the technical difficulties. All right, so we're going to need mutes all around just in case if we have another technical break. But to bring us up to speed, Naomi departs. The information shared somehow triggered something that they were not immediately aware of. That much is obvious and very hard to ignore as they make their way out of the Pisketeers, leaving the coterie to their own devices. And we return to the scene already in progress. What was that?
Did we get to ask about the girl and the guy that we saw at the Ascension? Like, Dia wanted to ask Naomi about that.
No, you did not.
I
Well,
tried
we
to
asked
bring,
about the guy, but she kind of
we-
shot it down.
I tried to bring it up as left-handedly as I could, but she didn't bite. She was very Ventru in her answers.
Okay, fair.
I know she wanted.
So, having the shared information that Naomi is of the impression that they are being set upon and set up, as well as having revealed that Milwaukee is the ash capital of the Midwest, where does that leave the coterie as a whole? One, Zach having been around the party lifestyle, Ash being able to affect kindred could 100% increase profits. Dia, being loosely associated with the party crowd, having been in and around the entertainment for the better part of a century almost, knows that drugs of most variety have an effect on entertainment, usually for the positive, at least for a short while. Seth, being formerly of law enforcement, understands that even in the criminalization of illicit substances, there is a profit that returns to the state, the city of whichever domain sets upon it. And Frost, having been a manhunter, knows that the bulk of most criminality centers in and around drug culture.
Seth also knows the other side of the coin where, yes, most of the state involved in the drug war is in it for the money and the political payoff. But he has seen firsthand in multiple communities the effects of drugs and its crushing weight. And the implication that Tessa and her chantry might be the source is not sitting well with him. Senator, I think this puts a little more impetus on our Milwaukee efforts. we lose you?
Just one thing after another with us.
Well, I did make a slight rant about my current state of paranoia and the overall impetus placed on this coterie and where we're always being pointed.
I just hate thinking that I might be somebody's pawn or set dressing, and that I'm not living my own actual life, and that I'm victim to somebody else's machinations.
Well, there's no better revenge than success.
No, there's no better revenge than burning their shit to the ground, but
Well, that's part 2 of the success thing. We succeed, the people who are trying to get us to fail are revealed, and then we burn their shit to the ground. A natural progression, the
I
cycle
burn
of
their
life.
shit to the ground. You watch.
I have been promising to let you burn something to the ground, haven't I?
she had a lot of questions, I noticed. A lot of sarcastic questions. Or pointed questions.
A lot of the questions that she asked were decidedly ones that would come from an innocent person framed. And she's a Ventru. Those could be machinations. But I have to say, in all honesty, as a Ventru, I really, really want her to be guilty. My objectivity is not 100% in this.
Venture. Yeah, that one is actually. You notice how when I pointed out she had ties in Chicago as well as Dalton. That there was no
You
answer.
also notice whenever we ask questions to her, she always deflected.
That as well.
Every question you asked was responded to with a what about response. She never talked about herself in all of that. Nor did she talk about why she was really here. I mean, maybe she was peckish. Maybe she had a craving. That's possible.
No, I have a distinct feeling that everybody else thinks she's guilty. Automatically, they're probably just looking at the surface of it, and she sees me as the only non-biased senator because I'm the newest and probably the most easily manipulated. Not wanting to rock the boat.
So, do we want to take her bait, or do we want to force her to actually ask for help? Because that's what she wants. She wants somebody to be on her side in this. Or at least be impartial. Do we want to wade into that? Do we want to find the truth behind it? Do we want to be... And which truth do we want to find? Do we want to find out who really killed Zach? Do we want to find out who really wanted Zach dead.
You mean Jack?
Yeah. Sorry. Didn't mean to make you nervous.
Well, I wasn't, but...
But, I mean, do we want to find those answers, or do we want to find the answers behind the ash? Which question do you think is more important, Senator?
I just have a sinking feeling. I think that if we pull on too many strings in one direction, that there's going to be an anvil attached to one of those strings. Especially dealing with Geneva.
I have no doubt. I think at some point something heavy and spiky and covered in sunlight is going to come crashing towards our heads. I'd just like to know...
Unless we continue to be useful.
I think even when we're useful, we're pulling on strings that could kill us all. Because it's dependent on who we're being useful to.
Sure enough.
I mean, my main concern in Dalton right now is you've been a senator for about 2.5 minutes. I'd like to see you cemented in that position. Exert a little of your power, have a coming out party. Make yourself known and loved among the hedonists. I mean, that's what your group lives for. I say lean into the turn. And if we happen to find a way to turn that into more information about what we're trying to find out, all the better.
And so basically what you're asking me to do is play the bubble-headed bimbo they expect me to be, so that they loosen their lips around me.
I think I would have an easier time with that.
No, I don't
He
want...
says in kind of a self-deprecative manner.
I think Zach has it right. I think Zach should be our bimbo. And me and Frost can be the thugs. And Dia, you need to be you, which is the new but ready for power Rose of Dalton. I say you should throw a big shindig, and we all put on our biggest costumes. I'll wear my prettiest trench coat. Frost will wear his shiniest armor.
I'll bring Matilda.
And Zach, that really shiny, crazy silk suit that you like. We'll get Tyven to do something up. And between the three of you, I'm sure you guys can throw a party.
Well, my parties tend to resemble mosh pits.
I'm thinking something slightly more formal than sweaty guys with mohawks pounding into each other. But the general feel should be the same. I mean, it's a
Well, the
senatorial...
feel I can pull off rather easily.
Yeah, I mean, it's a senatorial debut. You invite all the senators, we invite the Dom, we invite Dwayne. We make it a
I can't
combination.
believe I'm suggesting this. Why not a gala?
Oh, God. You said the G word.
I did.
And as an added bonus, it'll be a time for you to introduce Frost to the rest of the community. Formally. Make him wear a bow
Two birds with
tie.
one stone.
What is this, Doctor Who?
The young lady standing in your midst. You all watched her approach. Many people have to pass by you on their way out, on their way back upstairs, or heading into one of the many less than direct secret entrances. The sort of entrances that those in power typically are aware of for the Pisketeers. They'd have to enter half to a full block away, follow a few lefts, right, ups and downs to enter into the actual speakeasy. That is the actual Pisketeers Lounge, not just the neighborhood sports bar that is run upstairs. That is staffed with pretty looking empty-headed people that are designed to provide just enough service to keep anyone from guessing that just beneath notice, just out of sight, the stairwell that leads down the actual space that is beneath is where the actual Pisketeers is. Years ago, this was a speakeasy run by the former primogen of the Toreador in the Dalton area, Von Evan. No one ever knew his first name, but that was what he was called, Don Von Evan. Now, that being the case, as she, instead of heading up the stairs or heading through one of the tunnels, she stops and makes herself to home in your company. She's looking from one mouth to the next, from the other. She is doing more than ear hustling. She is ear gaffling. She is jacking you all for as much information as she can, waiting her turn to speak.
The sight of a unmoving Kine suddenly in our midst causes Seth to stop talking and turn his head slowly to the physically diminutive intruder.
Might we help you?
Oh, good lord, I believe you might.
The emotion.
Perhaps I should introduce myself. My friends call me Bridget. Yes, Bridget Lithgow. I'm what one might say is a keeper of my brothers and sisters. A friend of mine, a distant friend, if you will. I would like to speak with you if you have the opportunity. Is that something you might do? Or is there something you might arrange? Perhaps tonight might not be the best. I understand that you all are quite busy. It's thirsty work, looking for a conspiracy and plotting and planning against the world at large. Trust me, I understand. I was privy to more than my fair share of... But anyway, forgive me specifically for diverting from our actual conversation. But is that something you might do? Perhaps, maybe. Temporarily. Maybe. Possibly.
Well, who are your brothers and sisters?
Well, of course you are, considering you are the celebrity du jour. I understand, but I fucking hate speaking in front of people I don't know. But maybe you perhaps may have known of her. Tinatini? Nas, the left hand of doom, as she's sometimes called, the senator's adjutant, Blakeney, of course. I was sent here to perhaps reach out and maybe make an arrangement. She understands that there's been some trouble of sorts, if you know what I mean, in regards to the sort of business.
The both eyebrows shoot up, but do you covers their mouth because they are trying their hardest not to break into giggles. It just caught off completely guard and trying not to giggle. But then you look at the person. Well, I had spoke to Geneva about such things, and they said that they were having a hard time finding a way to reach out to Senator Blakeney. But since Senator Blakeney has sent you in their stead, then sure, yes, I would welcome a meeting of sorts. Thank you.
So you'd like to have this meeting tonight, or is there something you'd like to potentially plot and plan out for another night, or just so that I have an idea?
How close are we to sunrise?
Oh, you still have more than a few hours. You still haven't even received your delivery yet from Silk, which is on the way. It only takes, if you guys drive straight, it only takes just under 40 minutes to go from the Thornton Township to Gary. And that's if you drive slowly.
Okay. Looking at the person and then looking at Seth really quick. Up for another senatorial visit this evening.
Seth raises an eyebrow, but nods. He's willing to go on the spot or at the senator's convenience.
Well then, it seems we are primed for yet another senatorial visit. Please let them know that we await their arrival.
Oh, well, in that case, just give me a moment, if you will. And as Bridget says, if you'll give me a moment, they, instead of heading up the stairs or again heading through one of the tunnels, they move just behind where you all are seated toward the corner of the wall where the area is at its darkest. And instead of stopping at the wall, which you all know is roughly 12 feet from the center of where you all are sitting, they keep walking. They're suddenly swallowed by the deep shadow that is part of the ambiance. The wall is literally no more than 12 feet away, yet you don't hear that resounding crash of a drunkard falling into the wall. You don't hear the footfalls. You don't hear anything from where they are. They just simply disappear into the shadow.
I have heard that they can do that, but I have never seen it in person.
Angels and ministers of grace. And Seth crosses himself and swears in Irish Gaelic under his breath. I could go a million years and not deal with these people.
That's...
Love to see him walk away, hate to see him go.
Don't let the red hair fool you. Frost, anything with a deep shadow, that corner especially, always be able to see all of those corners for the next couple hours.
I'm thinking.
You're saying, Senator?
I'm thinking that's how they arrived, and we didn't notice them at first. And that is very disconcerting. I'm sure we should find a way to perhaps counteract that, at least by some measure.
It's
The moment as you all start plotting and planning mentally, Bridget is walking back out of that deep shadow, followed by two women. If you all look there on the whiteboard, if you look where Senator Lord Blakeney is, to the left of that is a Tina Tinning Mythotske Nas. Those are the two women flanking Bridget as they walk back out of that dark corner. Now, you know that there's no one there. You know that there's a wall literally 12 feet, but they are walking as if they've come from a very short hallway, as if there was no actual wall unless they step out of the shadow. Senator White, may I present to you Senator Blakeney and her head of security. Tina gives a slight incline of the head, and Lord Blakeney smiles brightly. Her almost model tall, waifish frame, the platinum hair and eyes as frosty as an iceberg, a blue so light that it is almost indiscernible from white. Dia, I've heard so many good things about you. Geneva said that you may need my services. May I have a seat?
Please, yes. Our table is your table. If you wish, we would just closing some smaller matters of business on our own. But yes, Dia slides himself to the side to leave room for Laura to take a seat wherever they wish. But they're like fixated on that whole total look. Like the blonde hair and the almost white blue eyes is just fascinating to them, I guess. And they're just, it's bad to stare, I know, but they are like, yeah, they're taking a little bit.
I'd first like to begin our conversation with, I am sorry for your loss. I know what it's like to lose things that are extraordinarily, irreplaceably priceless. I'm myself recently just managing to get past a severe loss and some no small few traumatic events. But Nicole was always a friend, even during my darkest days. And so I'd like to extend to you my condolences and my aid. Geneva stated that you were in need of certain resources. And I believe with the local market that I may be the resource that you would like. And even still, even if it's not something that we can come to an agreement on, I would very much love to get to know you and your cabinet. Nicole was never one for such trappings. She kept everything very close to her chest. Very few people were inside her circle of trust. I believe, officially, it was just you.
Yes, Nicole believes that the only way for two people to keep a secret, one of them is dead. So, pretty much, unfortunately, it seems that it came to fruition. Thank you for your condolences. And I am sorry you have suffered similar loss. or loss of some sort recently. I want to do things slightly different than Nicole has done. I don't wish to go too far off the beaten path, but yes, I think it's time for a little bit of a change. So, getting to know the other senators would be a good thing for me. Thank you.
I believe change is the most valuable of things to have. Geneva is a competent leader, but there's no small amount of anachronisms to their behaviors and their modalities. They lead by example, but an example set far into our past, far into the way things once operated. Lots of dealings and backroom diplomacy, very much the Chicago way of doing things. And while I support them, as all good senators should, if for nothing more than their legacy of success, if not more than their velveteen steel that has kept us afloat as a whole. I believe this is a great place to live. I believe that it could be better, but if not for the leadership already in place, it could be considerably worse. And so, I would like to broker an alliance between us.
Well, if there are things you feel I might be able to offer in a partnership, then I will certainly consider. You have, I'm sure, much to offer, as you have the experience over me being a senator for longer and knowing how the game is played. Much more certainly.
Oh, yes, there are definitely several layers of games afoot, as is always the case when we associate with one another. As is always the case when we must live a multiplicity of lives and wear a multiplicity of faces to the world around us. And that's the reason for my directness. I know that there are not many amongst us who would approach you as honestly as possible. Not many of us would attempt to come directly. But I've had quite enough. I've labored and lost, and I would prefer to not continue losing. So, a directness, a forthright attempt to not play the games of our kind. I have several resources, several processing locations spread across the region. I can provide roughly 150 servings of blood per week. We know the value of such a thing. We also know that if you have a surplus of blood to offer the kindred and those who need such things, that you would be able to expand. You would be able to corner a small portion of the market. And in your expansion, in your taking a foothold within the blood trade, we can free the township from its reliance on outside sources. We can stop the Chicagoans from peddling their wares in our domain. We can stop the Hoosiers from crossing the border and spreading their poison amongst our kind. We can stop the Wisconsin contingent who bring their drugs to our streets. We can stop the downstate kindred who sneak in and take what they want and make as much as they can. We can strengthen our borders by keeping our business ours.
That is indeed powerful planning and quite poetic almost. I don't know if I wish to directly participate in the blood trade other than being someone who uses it for my needs to run his affairs. But other than that, you have more than piques my interest.
You either assume the position as master of the house or you will be someone else's servant. You'll be beholden to other forces. And I'm not entirely sure as to your past, Senator White, but I refuse to be servant or slave to anyone else ever again. I will not suffer someone else's terms. I will not allow another to take up space in my domain, in our city, with their agendas. We must take a strong footing. We must take a stance that is unassailable. Again, Senator White, I am attempting to be direct, to offer a token of my honesty. I will let you know that I have personally and directly had a hand in driving out those foul denizens of the apocalypse. I have driven the thin blood as far from here as I can possibly send them, all with but an opening warning shot. Their cowardice making my effort far more effective than I had planned. The next forces on my agenda are the blood dealers who are not local to our township. I will stop every incoming shipment. I will end every dealer that does not reside within our township. Mitchell is too busy pursuing other ends, attempting to mitigate the flood of other influences. That is not enough. We need to ally ourselves and destroy them.
So you're proposing pretty much all-out war on anybody that's not from Baltimore.
We are already at war. They've already killed our master courier. They've also killed the bulk of those who relied on our courier. And then they assassinated Jack.
Jack was a central piece in your endeavors?
No, but their efforts were welcome.
You know, it's been implied that he had...
Jack was the go-between for the bulk of our local criminal organizations. Jack mitigated and minimized their deleterious effects on the world around them? Why do you believe the gang warfare was drawn to a close? Why do you believe that the dealers were so well composed? Because Jack acted as our agent, as the kindred's representative amongst those criminally minded. Jack kept them with a semblance of order. Jack is no more. What do you think will happen next?
I'm just wondering whether Jack was running both sides of the coin. I investigated Jack's final resting place and found no small amount of evidence linking him back to Milwaukee, which you propose or demand is an enemy. Was he putting both?
Of course they are. Making a bit of profit and doing the right thing is not a thing we should turn our nose up at. The benefits of having someone so criminally minded, so gifted at balancing, was a small price to pay.
My years in policing tell me that Jack was a CI that you had under your thumb but didn't have complete control of. He was playing both sides of the fence, and I think you lost control of him a little, and I think somebody found out. I don't think they were intending to hurt your trade. I think they were intending to hurt his. And your trade got affected as collateral damage.
Who are you? Senator White, whom is this investigator? Is this the person that Geneva was going to use to besmirch Naomi? Because that is quite a mind.
That is my cabinet member, Seth McLaren, and they are also head of my security. As they said, they spent quite some time in the crime police world as a detective, and some habits are hard to shake.
Paranoia is a good thing. And yes, Jack worked all sides against the middle. Their end goal, of course, was to, well, establish a foothold in the area for the patricians of the city seeking to flee the hand of the government. But again, a small price to pay for all of the work they did for us. But our attempts at a quiet Cold War are over.
Well then, as a policeman, and as a detective, and as an ex-soldier, I'd ask, what forces are you expecting us to directly fight against? Because Dia is new in the senatorial seat and not well placed right now to take on a hot war.
That's the beauty of it. No one would expect such a new, fresh-minded senator to have a stance one way or the other. I'll provide you what I know. You provide me what you know, and we will work together to eliminate one after the other.
They're asking us to be the foot soldiers in this war. Yeah. I mean, when it comes down to it, do we want to be the frontline soldiers? Because the exchange of information
No.
is one thing, but I don't want to put the senator or Zach in the middle of something where me and Frost have had the training for, but they have not.
I wouldn't dream of putting them on the front line. That's not where the sensates, the hedonists, the clan of the Rose belong. Their gift of being the center of attention, their gift at getting people to speak freely, their fresh-faced goodness is a tool I would love to have access to. There's certain places a secret dagger cannot reach without invitation. There are places where our abilities draw attention instead of evade. There are places where only the high-flying roses can reach. As such, there's information that only you would be able to provide. In exchange,
Spies.
what else do you believe the rose is for? The international symbol of spy craft, of trade craft, is in fact a blue rose.
Blue roses don't exist in nature, they are only created. So what are you hoping to create between us?
Eventually a level of trust.
With a pack of roses, a Tremere, and a brand new vampire, you want to breed trust? You are ambitious.
I mean, I like it.
Aim as high as possible. Shoot as straight as you can. And eventually, if you stay with it long enough, all those who stand against you will fall. Because after all, life is pain, and it comes down to whom and what you're willing to endure the pain for. And I believe that our township, I believe that the truth of us, of our fantasy of being independent of all sex, is possible, is viable, but first we must strengthen our borders. We must relinquish our addiction to other places. We must fully own our domain.
Now we've talked about you've talked about the roses part. What about mine?
Do not take this the wrong way, but what about you? You're a part of Senator White's cabinet. You are viewed as human until you earn your right and space as kindred. You are in a most enviable position. You are much like the senator, an unknown. There's no accounting for you just yet. What will help others account for you is your behavior, what you choose to show, what lines you choose to draw in places where others are taking notice. So, plans for you. Do as the senator instructs you to as a member of her cabinet. Make yourself useful using whatever life skills you've learned along the way. Learn the ways of us, the actual masters of the night, the kindred that exist all around you. And perhaps one day, within this decade or the next, or maybe the one after that, there will be an accounting for you. Right now, the only accounting for you is that of your sire. And exactly who is your sire?
Well, like me, it's an unknown.
Oh, that is not a good situation. I would extend a condolence, but I don't know who I might be extending it to. I hope that you have a Maula worth the effort and time to instruct you properly. Raising children is far worse than raising human children, because you have an adult who has been lied to the entirety of their time on this planet, who don't realize that there's a power structure in place operating, controlling, warring, and battling right beneath their noses. So whoever your Malva is, I wish them luck, and I wish you success.
Thanks. But if reputation is I need to build, a war doesn't sound that bad.
It is only in the 20th century that such a thing became a bad thing. Up until World War II, every person, every country looked forward to a war. War brought the opportunity to rise above your station. War brought much needed lucre to your country. War created fortunes. War was good business.
It also killed the weak and made the strong stronger.
On the surface.
In these modern times, war kills indiscriminately. So, if you want us to be involved in this war, prove to us that at some point we're going to benefit and the whole is going to benefit. You say you want to push out the outsiders, but already the pinch is being felt. Dalton would dry up and blow away in the course of your war.
Sinjin, does your body man speak for you in this regard? It's an interesting question, and as I stated earlier, there's a mind at work. However, to get through hell, the only way is by putting one foot in front of the other and not stopping until you're on the opposite side. Right now, we are addicted and accustomed to comfort. We are bound to those not of our domain. We have ties uncontrolled to a multiplicity of sources not local. It will require some tightening of our belt. It will require some rationing of resources until we are able to build our own sustainable. But it will be worth it.
I listen to my cabinet, but they do not speak specifically for me. No. I understand what you have said to me this evening, and I will very much take all of it into account. I'm going to need at least a night to mull some things over. I do wish to form the alliance and at least get to know each other and build a trust. As for the rest, I don't know if I am ready to step off that cliff quite yet. It's not a no, and I am being as direct as I possibly can, as you have been nothing but direct with me. I have a lot of decisions to make, a lot of choices, as you so poignantly pointed out, that they don't see me coming. They don't expect me to do anything more than what they wish for me to do. But what I want is to figure out what it is I want to do, and not have this person or that person or this senator pushing for me to join up with their cause, because unfortunately you are not the only senator that has visited me this evening wishing for me to join up behind them in some way or manner. It's a lot. And they are both at opposite ends and to different means. So it's like having to choose. Do you wish to live with your mother or your father once they have divorced?
I would never have you behind me, beside me, working in tandem, but I understand it is quite a lot. As such, I understand that you need. I will leave Bridget at your disposal so that you can arrange a tasting, if you will, and we can proceed from there as far as business so that we have the opportunity to learn each other properly. I understand that there's much left in the night, so I will not take much more of your time. Bridget knows how to reach me. Senator White, McLarian, Frost, and Volkir. May your night and all the nights that follow grant you all the success you deserve. And with that, Blakeney stands up and Dinatini and her walk back towards the rear, towards that wall that they entered in through, and disappear into the darkness. Bridget, not taking more than she feels she deserves, stands at attention just outside of conversational range, waiting to be addressed. And as the decisions and thoughts broached, as the lines of curiosity for what the future might bring, as the heavy thoughts of what tomorrow and the nights after hold in store, we draw to a close. I'd like to thank you all for your patience and understanding our technical difficulties, and I will see you all next episode. Good night, everybody.